Hi, everybody. You're listening to Radio Cherry Bombe, and I'm your host, Kerry Diamond, coming to you from Newsstand Studios at Rockefeller Center in the heart of New York City. Today's guest is Ashley Graham, model, entrepreneur, mom of three, and now co-founder of Lucci, a new beverage brand that celebrates the Italian sparkling wine, Lambrusco. Lots of you know Ashley. She's been in the public eye since she started modeling at age 12. Over the years, she's helped change the conversation around fashion, body confidence, visibility, and inclusion. She was the first plus-size model to land the cover of Sports Illustrated swimsuit issue, and she has continued to use her platform to push for a broader, more honest definition of beauty. Today, we're talking about Ashley's newest chapter, Lucci. She tells me how a dinner in Los Angeles, a bottle of Lambrusco, and a DM led her to Italy and eventually to building her first brand from the ground up. We also talk about what it means to be more than the face of a brand, her entrepreneur journey, raising money, asking your friends for money and having them say no, eek, and what it was like starring as Roxy Hart in Chicago on Broadway. She says that doing something terrifying reminded her to dream bigger. Stay tuned for my chat with Ashley Graham. Today's show is presented by Fisher & Paykel. Let's talk about your kitchen personality. Maybe you're all about slow roasts and playlists, big baking projects on a weekend, never following a recipe, or following them to the last 1/8 teaspoon of salt. You know who you are. However you show up in the kitchen, Fisher & Paykel is designed to meet you there. Founded in Aotearoa, New Zealand, and shaped by a deep respect for nature, Fisher & Paykel is a product design company that has spent more than 90 years rethinking the role of the kitchen. In fact, they've been talking about the social kitchen for decades. This idea that the kitchen isn't just where meals happen, it's where life happens. Fisher & Paykel's appliances, from their ovens and cooktops to refrigerators and wine fridges, dishwashers, and washing machines, are all built to support that. Not as one-off pieces, but as a system that works together, so your kitchen reflects how you live, cook, and gather. Fisher & Paykel for all your kitchen personalities. Learn more and find your perfect appliances and lots of kitchen inspo at fisherpaykel.com. This is a fun one for our New York City friends. The hot dog edit is coming to Rockefeller Center, home of our podcast, on Thursday, May 28th. Cherry Bombe will be pulling up in our very first food truck and celebrating our hometown's most iconic street food with some of our favorite local chefs. Sohee Kim of Gage and Tollner and INSA, Michelle Palazzo of La Rock, and Angie Rito of Don Angie and San Sabino. Sohee, Angie, and Michelle have created their dream hot dogs and will be serving them up throughout the day. This one-day-only outdoor pop-up is in partnership with Open Table and Visa. Join us to celebrate the start of the summer, nosh on some limited edition collab treats, and hang with Team Cherry Bombe. Access to the hot dog edit is available via Open Table. Make sure you've added an eligible Visa card to your Open Table account in order to purchase. Also, a limited number of Day of Dogs will be available with an eligible Visa card. We can't wait to see you. Reservations for the hot dog edit by Cherry Bombe, Open Table, and Visa are available through Open Table times Visa Dining Collection for eligible Visa cardholders. Restrictions apply. See terms and conditions. For more information, check out the link in our show notes or head to cherrybombe.com. Now, let's check in with today's guest. Ashley Graham, welcome to Radio Cherry Bombe.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. This was so much fun.
I'm so thrilled to say those words. This is the first time we're meeting, but my team is in love with you. They went to the Lucci launch and came back and said, oh my God, we love Ashley. She has to be on the podcast.
Oh, I remember making content with them. They were so sweet.
So we have a lot to talk about. It's so funny. Like, you have crammed a lot into your still young life. I had no idea you started modeling at 12.
I know. It's kind of like, I feel like it's illegal now.
Yeah. I think you might be right. I mean, I worked in fashion and beauty for years. Now you have to be a certain age to model.
I think so. Like, I don't know if you have to be 18 to model, but you definitely have to probably be 15 or 16.
I think if you're younger, you have to have a parent or a guardian now or something like that.
Yeah. I mean, my mom was obviously with me from 12 to about 15. And then from 15 to 16 is when we started experimenting with like me traveling by myself and going to jobs by myself. And then at 17, I fully moved to New York City by myself from Nebraska.
Oh my gosh. And you have 3 little ones. I mean, your twins are still really little. Can you even imagine sending them off on their own?
No, I mean, this is the thing, back in the day,
Yeah.
however many, I'm 38 now, right? My mom grew up on a farm. She started driving a tractor when she was 4 years old. That was like the mentality of like, if you're here, you're going to help. And my dad is an entrepreneur, and I have these two work ethic type mom and dad, and their blood instilled in me. And so their whole idea was like, we need you to be passionate about something. Whatever you're going to be passionate about, we're going to push you into it. I just was never passionate about anything until I figured out, oh, modeling, you can travel. I loved traveling. And I loved getting my picture taken. That was really fun too. So they were like, okay, this is working. Let's push you into this. And, I have two younger sisters, and my mom and dad couldn't take me everywhere. So they made me, figure it out quickly. And, there were some hurdles, and I've got stories and war wounds, up the wazoo. I learned the fast way, and I kept my head on my shoulders.
I know you've written a few books already. I feel like there's a really meaningful memoir that will come from you some point in the future.
Yeah, I wrote one. I launched it when I was 30 years old. It was really the reason I did it was like the catalyst of being on the cover of Sports Illustrated. So much has changed in the last 8 years. And I've been taking notes and inventory of it because just my 30s alone, I think, is its own book.
Sports Illustrated. The first cover was 2016 that you did. And just how that publication has changed so radically, and who's on the cover now.
It's amazing to be able to look back and see where I've made a mark in history. And I know that maybe that would sound conceited if you don't know what's going on in history with fashion and bodies and women caring about their confidence. But I say it more with pride and an urgency, because I think so much has backslid in the fashion industry, and it breaks my heart. But I'm so proud still of the things that I've accomplished and that my community has really accomplished. The reason I'm, still modeling and still fighting for inclusion is because I often think of myself as a middle schooler, high school, in my early 20s, just looking for someone to look up to that looks like me, or that had more confidence than me and had been through life, in a larger body or a more imperfect body than what social media or the media portrays. I think now is even more important than 10 years ago, because there's so many lies on social media about what you're supposed to look like and how you're supposed to act. There's a lot to be proud of, and it's not erased. It's still there.
You really have changed lives. I mean, I know you said that can sound a little conceited to say you're part of history, but you really have. And I mean, if you look at the comments on any of your posts, just the number of lives you continue to change and the number of people you continue to inspire is amazing. So thank you for that. And I see the backsliding. We all see the backsliding, whether we want to acknowledge it or not. I worked in fashion magazines for years. Was just talking about this last night. I was not quite in fashion at the height of like Cindy Crawford and Linda and all those women. I was lucky to work with them eventually, but not the heyday of their supermodeldom in the 80s and early 90s. But I remember when a sample size was like, a 6 maybe, or something like that. And now a sample size is like a 0. And it's like, how in the world did that happen? Why did that happen? Who was the evil person who made that decision?
You are truly asking the questions that we're all still trying to figure out. And why is it just one size? Like, why can't there be, a variety of sample sizes? Yeah. And, someone might have an answer to that. And some might say there's not a budget. And some might say it just looks better on a runway to have everybody look the same. In some ways, I feel like, that's not the fight anymore. Who cares about that? The fight is to just have visibility of all shapes and sizes and backgrounds and ages, and also so that we don't have to keep talking about this, that it just all becomes normal.
Right. I read that you're one of 3 girls, which I loved. I'm one of 3 girls.
Oh, where do you rank?
Where do I rank?
Yeah, where do you rank?
I'd have to ask
what's your birth order?
I'd have to ask my parents. They would probably rank us differently based on the day. But I am the oldest. I'm the oldest of 5.
Same.
3 girls, then 2 boys.
Oh, my word.
I immediately thought of one of your fellow Sports Illustrated stars, Ilona Maher, who was on our cover with her 2 sisters. Have you crossed paths with them? I feel like there needs to be some kind of crossover.
I went on Alana's podcast with her sisters. We had fun. I flew out to LA and we talked about, just life and a bunch of different things. So I'm really proud of her. I think it's amazing, all that she's accomplished.
Aren't they great? I love those three.
Yes, they're really fun. I think they all three have a really great dynamic. It's really fun to know them.
We'll be right back with today's guest. Today's show is presented by Davines, the Italian hair care company that cares deeply about two things, your hair and our planet. Not only does Davines have a European regenerative organic center at their headquarters in Parma, Italy, but they also support an annual Good Farmer Award, which recognizes beginner farmers following regenerative farming practices. The winners receive financial support to apply toward community programming and essential equipment. I had the pleasure of meeting this year's U.S. winner, Rachel Culchin of California's Blue Heron Farm, at a recent Davines event, and I was blown away by what she's built. I'll put a link to her farm in the show notes in case you'd like to learn more. Let's talk about the amazing products from Davines. Their essential hair care range features regenerative organic certified active ingredients, and they've introduced new packaging with a lower environmental footprint, like their shampoo refill pouches. No matter your hair type, Davines has a product for you. I have very curly hair and use the Davines Love Smoothing Shampoo and Conditioner. Also in my regular rotation is a Davines product called This is a Curl Building Serum. Quirky name, great product. I use it as a styling product when I want to air dry my hair. I work about a quarter's worth of the serum through my very wet hair, scrunch, then leave it be. I'll put a link to the serum in the show notes. You can find the Davines products perfect for you at Davines.com, Sephora.com, and select hair salons. So many questions about this new entrepreneurial journey that you're on. I wanted to talk about the modeling thing because, knowing that you started modeling at 12, you are no stranger to brands and marketing and what it means to be the face of a brand. Is this the first one where you kind of have real skin in the game, where you're co-founder, co-owner of a brand?
This is the first time I am the co-founder of a brand, yes. I have had many endorsement deals. I've had many licensing deals. I've had many investment deals. I've had many plethoras of things like that. But from actually building a brand from the ground up, that's my first baby. Anytime we went to an investor and they, were like, well, so how are we going to know you're going to put your time into this? It's like, this is the fourth child my husband will not let me have.
Lucci would make a cute name for a
Right?
kid, actually, thinking about that.
Actually, when we were in Miami, I was serving pizza and serving Lucci. I was like, you want a little Lucci, baby? It was like, anytime we're like, a little Lucci, baby, it's fun. It rolls off the tongue.
Did you come up with the name? The name is brilliant.
Oh, isn't it fun? Honestly, it's been with me for 3+ years now. And so it's in my DNA, but Lucci just felt like it was light. It was vibrant. It comes from the Italian word loose, which means light and vibrant. So we just felt like loose and Lucci were like very similar. And it was something that the Americans could be able to say easily, but also the Italians weren't like, what? So it was just our twist on light and vibrant.
How did the idea come about? Where was the seed planted or the aha moment?
My business partner, Danny, who started Lucci with me, we actually have been business partners before. We do double dates, and he's also got a couple of kids. We have very similar energy, and we were at dinner at Bestia in downtown Los Angeles. And, we were doing a sherry shoot of the bone marrow and eating the pasta, drinking the wine. And we always went there and we would always get the Lambrusco because to us, they had some of the best Lambrusco in LA, at least selection. And we were drinking it and we thought, why don't we just make this? Well, he said that to me. And I said, we can't just make Lambrusco. I don't know how to make Lambrusco. And I'm thinking like, where the hell do I even start? And he goes, well, let's look on the back of the bottle. And so we look on the back of the bottle of the one that we love. I don't remember the name. I wish I did. And we look up the winemaker and I'm like, oh, it's right here. Why don't I just DM the winemaker and see if they see my blue check? You never know. The next day I get a DM back like, hey, we'd love to have you out to Emilia-Romagna and come and check out our vineyard and see what we're all about. And I was like, whoa, is this happening? Like, what's happening? So Danny and I, over the next couple of months, we made plans to go out and we actually kind of like paired it up with Paris Fashion Week. I remember I just finished Milan and Paris. It was September. We had just gotten there at like the top of October to Emilia-Romagna, which is also right outside of Bologna, which I had been to because I had a Marina Rinaldi contract for many years. And so I kind of knew the area. I knew it was like the food mecca. I did not know that that is where you get the seal of approval. I'm sure there's a better way to say it for your Lambrusco. This is where the Lambrusco is made. And this company, this is a fifth generation winemaker. And we're sitting there with the son who's in his, early to mid 30s. And he's like, yeah, this is how we do it. And we started talking about different formulations and how we didn't want it to have, we didn't want it to be too super sweet. With lots of research, I figured out that in the 80s, Lambrusco was the number one most imported wine in America, which I thought was really remarkable in the sense of, so there are Americans that have been drinking this. It's not just a select few. This isn't just like a, if you know, you know. Like my in-laws who were in their early 80s, they used to tell me, oh, we used to drink Lambrusco. And, it was a thing that got you drunk. It was sweet and it was cheap. And they had no shame in their game. They were like, yeah, we used to love it. But then it got old because of how sweet it was. It went away in the 90s. As we're sitting there, coming up with formulas, and then we flew back and we had things shipped and we were like, is it the air? It's like things are shipped. So we went back again. We were like, let's try this again. And we got the formula just right. And I knew that we wanted it to be fruit forward, but we definitely wanted it to be dry because I didn't want to go backwards. We need to learn from history and not make something that's already been made. There are lots of dry Lambruscos. I'm not saying I made the first. I'm just saying I didn't want to make something that felt like it had already been done for the people who hadn't been drinking Lambrusco for the last couple of decades.
It sounds like the least torturous founder story. I mean, so you hear so many stories where people are just completely tortured, and how do they make this happen, and how do they find the co-packer? And just that
sometimes you've got to DM somebody.
I mean, just the brilliance of like, let's look at the back of the bottle.
So here's the thing: we made a beautiful liquid. That's what the investors or the distributors kept calling it, and I was like, it's my baby. It's called Lucci, but fine, the liquid. So they kept saying, okay, this is a good liquid. We've got a good liquid on our hands. The problem really came with finding the distributor and who was going to work with us, because that's the biggest thing. It's like, if you don't have somebody helping you distribute, it doesn't matter if you have a great market or if you have a great liquid. So we hunted down Southern glaciers. I had actually randomly had a friend. She was the assistant to one of my agents, one of my talent agents. And sure enough, she was one of the heirs of them. And I was like, oh, wait a second. I remember this girl. Let me call her. And sure enough, we got a meeting right away. And they said no. They said no for about a year and a half. A big part of their no was people aren't drinking as much. This is a new category for us. And it's yet another celebrity brand. And we've been burnt by celebrity brands. And I said, look, I understand. I hear you. But I am not a regular celebrity. I am Ashley Grant. I work hard, and everything I say, I do. And everything I do, I say that I'm going to do. And I'm a woman of my word. It didn't like hit me like, oh my God, they said no. It was like, great. Who else do we need to talk to? Where's my other workaround? Because these are the people that we want to work with. It took a year and a half. They finally said yes. And they got really excited. So now they're behind us.
But the things that they said to you, that people are drinking less, you're a celebrity backing, an alcohol brand. And, if you've worked in food media long enough, you've seen a lot of those. What makes this different? Why did you want to do this? And how were you not deterred by a year and a half of no?
The celebrity brand thing for me is, first of all, no one is in the Lambrusco space. I am really able to corner this market in the sense of education. It's a new category for a lot of people. It's a rebirth for a lot of people. And bubbles are on the rise like crazy. Champagne and Prosecco and, wine being a mixed drink now also. I mean, it's a phenomenon. And also, by the way, Lucci makes a mean Negroni. Woo! Girl. We have all the recipes on LucciLambrusco.com. So good. So those were the reasons why I was like, this doesn't matter about the celebrity brand. This is about cornering a market and a category. Like, look beyond me. I'm just going to help lead people to something that maybe they haven't had, or the rebirth of Lambrusco. The whole people aren't drinking as much anymore is real. I'm not drinking as much either. And I think that that's okay, but people are drinking smarter. That is what I really love to hear because people want to know where their alcohol is sourced, who is really behind it, and what's the calorie intake. Not only just the founder story, that's just one bit of it, but like what's the ingredients like? And I knew that we had a luxury liquid in our hands with a very affordable price. It's almost premium. It's at $19.99 a bottle at retail. To me, this was just like a win-win. And I never moved off of my position of it. I stayed true to it with every call. And I think people were just like realizing, you know what? This lady's right. She's not going to shut up. Let's just give her the deal.
You sound like such a natural entrepreneur. I know you did that show Side Hustlers. I'm sure you learned something from those ladies.
Ooh, yes. That was a really fun show. And Magritte and I got to instill a lot of confidence into a lot of women. And sure, sometimes I was listening to Emma going, you know what? That's a really good idea, Emma. But at the end of the day, an entrepreneur heart is, I think, in a lot of us, especially now with the rise of AI, that we all are really thinking about what else can we do and where else can we hustle and, how else can we build the things around us. But that was a really fun show because we got to invest in women that had these grand ideas that had no idea or visibility in how to gain capital or where to even go. And having just like a sense of leadership in their life, I think really went a long way. Even the women we didn't give money to and we ended up not investing in, I think some of them I've stayed in touch with and they still felt like, wow, this was a game changer for them. But it's been really fun to watch some of those brands really grow.
Also being the face of so many brands for a long time and brands that you had absolutely no say in. You, for all intents and purposes, when you were in those ads, seemed like the face of them, whether it was an endorsement or not. What did you learn from having to represent so many brands over the years?
Well, I've been really mindful. I mean, in the beginning of my career, it was yes to everything because I needed a paycheck. I needed to be able to afford to live in New York City. And as my career took a climb and as social media, gave me a leg, there was this then idea that I had to really take it seriously, the jobs that I was saying yes to, because now I've got a sisterhood of people saying, oh, well, what'd you take that for? The paycheck? And yeah, I mean, there's no denying it. There have been jobs that I've taken because of the paycheck, but never against, any of my ethos or who I am at the core. I've said no to $1 million jobs because it just doesn't line up with who I am or what I stand for. And I'm not here for it. I feel really lucky that I've had a lot of control over my career and what I've been able to say yes and no to.
That's great. Knowing that, what have you learned? Because you've worked for amazing brands.
Having a relationship and a personal relationship with the people within the brands is key. And really understanding who your audience is, not necessarily just the customer's audience, but your audience is key. As a business owner, as someone who is constantly thinking about, stepping into different lanes that have not been created or been made for me, I'm thinking about how am I bringing my community with me into this lane and into that lane that maybe would not have felt like a normal path, but let's try it out. And I think that has been something that's been really important, but also relationships. Everything for me has really been about relationships and being nice and working my butt off.
So nice girls can get ahead.
Oh, all the time.
Good message. Good message.
All the time.
It's so amazing to me. We see so many brands. This one seems so fully formed. It's amazing that it's kind of your first product baby in a sense. I know you still design a line for JCPenney's, so it's not exactly your first time at the rodeo, but it is so fully formed and so beautifully done, from the name to the packaging to the whole presentation. The product is amazing. It's really impressive that this is your first, venture in this space. And bravo to you on finding the white space. Wines and champagnes, we know so many beautiful brands, but I don't know any Lambrusco brands except yours.
That's another big point of it, is that I still to this day, I'm like, what are some Lambrusco brands that I love? And not to shame any of them, because I've had lots of amazing ones. You just can't name it. But Lucci, rolls right off the tongue.
Yeah.
I think about 8 years ago, my husband and I thought, oh, wouldn't it be amazing to own a vineyard and to have a red wine come out and call it full-bodied wine, just based off of my career, right? Full body. And I thought, oh, that's such a great idea. And then we looked into like buying a vineyard and doing that whole thing. Oh, that sounds like a headache. Kudos to anybody who owns a vineyard and runs it, because holy crap, I don't want to do that.
I feel like you fall into the never say never category of life.
This is true. Yeah. Okay. Right now, I don't think I can handle it, but there's just always been this love for wine in my life and my family. Growing up, my parents never drank, so I was never around alcohol. And then, of course, kids who are never around alcohol go and make crazy decisions in high school and what your college years would be like. I think I grew up and my palate got smart, and I'm super adventurous with wine and food and pairing.
One of the hardest things for women, and this was a theme in Side Hustlers, raising money. Did you go out and find investors, or
Yes.
are you the investor in the?
No, I definitely put some of my own money into it. And then we went out and we raised some money. And it's hard. I mean, it's really about who you know, it's about connections, and it's about how you're setting up your systems. Really, if you have a great deck and you have a great product and you know how to speak to it, you should be hearing 75% yes, in my opinion. And that's what we've gotten. Alcohol is a weird space right now to raise money. It's just people aren't drinking as much. But the people who did end up being our investors are the people who fell in love with the product, know me or Danny very well, and know that we are hustlers. Also, people who really see the vision for Lucci. Because in many ways, even though we don't have a second SKU, this is a lifestyle brand. We have this incredible merch that we're going to start rolling out. It's going to be exclusive. So it's going to be very, if you know, or a quick drop, and it'll be, on an IG story or something. And it's luxury. It's awesome. We were handing out actually, not that we're on video or anything, but like, here's one of the hats. It's
Cute.
just, you could see some of my merch on my Instagram and stuff that I've been wearing. But the people that invested in us know that their ROI is going to be high.
Well, it sounds like the process wasn't as painful for you as some entrepreneurs, but also you must have a thick skin after all those years of
I was going to
modeling.
say, it just depends on like how you take things. I had some of my closest friends that have a lot of money that said, no, we're not going to invest in you. And at first it feels like a burn, but really at the end of the day, it's like, who cares? That's their money. Let them do whatever they want with it. You don't want to sit there and beg, but you want to be persistent. But you also want to know when you want to hear when a no is a no. I haven't taken any of it personally because I don't think that it is personal. So, these are just decisions that people are making with their money. I'm just going to move on to the next. I'm not going to sit and dwell in it. So I'm just going to roll up my sleeves and move on.
Tell us some of the goals for Lucci this year.
Well, we have a lot of great places that we're showing up, like the Wynn in Las Vegas. We're also going to be at Bottle Rock in Napa. We're taking over Lambrusco Day, which is June 22nd. We're going to take over the whole week, and we're doing different food collaborations for the whole week because Lucci really does pair so well with so many different types of food. What we want for Lucci is that it becomes a household name, that it's the wine that you're thinking of when you're going to a family event or to a party and you want to bring something that feels elevated and delicious and something that is coming together. Or it's the one where you're just having dinner with yourself or your family and you crack it open. This is definitely for me the highlight of like a week that I've had. And then my husband and I open up a bottle of Lucci, and whether we started off with our kids at dinner and then we finish it off on the couch, that's like a great way to end the week. And I think that that can easily be a staple in a lot of Americans' household.
How about distribution goals? What are your plans?
We are in so many different great restaurants right now. We're at Bevmo, Total Wine, Reserve Bar, Go Puff, Benny's Beverage Depot, Wine.com, lots of trendy restaurants. When we launched in January, which is so crazy that we launched in January and it's just now about to be May in a couple of weeks, we only launched in 5 states, which was California, Texas, Illinois, New York, New Jersey. Oh, it was 6 states because I always count New York and New Jersey as one, and Florida. Even though I live in Jersey, I'm still a New Yorker. Hard for me. Of course, you want to launch in 50 states. Of course, you want to like be available for everyone, but it just doesn't work that way, especially in the alcohol space. And that's what I'm realizing. For me, being in fashion forever, it's like whether it's beauty or fashion, I always thought, oh, we just launch everywhere and this is it. And this is not the way alcohol works, which I'm slowly understanding.
So many rules and regulations.
Oh my God. And like, I want to send a case of wine to my in-laws in Delaware and I can't. So I have to drive it to them or they have to come to me and get it. There are so many different rules for every state. And so we're learning as we go, but we've built a really great team who has been in the alcohol space for a very long time. And they've just been kind of like leading me. And I really think I really owe it all to the team that we've built because you can't do this alone. It's really about the people behind the company.
Are you making a lot of friends in the wine world?
I am. I mean, I'm a very curious and social person. It's interesting going to some of these expos. It's very old and stuffy and everybody looks the same. So it's interesting walking into some of these rooms because it's not a lot of the women are barely there. It's like, a very small percentage of women. But I have to say, it's been incredibly meaningful. Like I came into the wine world with a lot of humility, only knowing that, I know what I like, I know what I don't like, but not really understanding the whole craft of the wine industry. And it's really given me a depth and appreciation and patience to really get to know this new world. I think fashion and wine can really feel intimidating. I've always cared about is making people feel welcome and confident. That's how I want people to see Lucci. So when I walk into these rooms, I'm open for whatever comes my way. And it's been very well received.
Let's talk about food. Do you cook?
I can follow a recipe, but I wouldn't say like I'm a great cook. I told my husband before we got married, I was like, I just don't cook. He heard me loud and clear. And he still married me. He's really a great chef. I can follow a recipe very well and have made some really mean, like one-off dishes. And yeah.
Well, it's got to be tough. You're on the road. So, I mean, I don't know if you are as much anymore, but
oh no, I am.
Now that you have
my
kids,
fourth baby, Lucci, is really keeping me busy too. Birthdays are really fun. I always have my boys help me make their birthday cake. And then it turns into this big, mess and it's fun. And then it's their birthday and they get to eat this creation and they get to eat the whole thing, So that's really fun for us. My mom grew up baking a lot. And so that's something that really does come natural to me. What's really funny is a charcuterie board I can put together very well. And my kids now ask for charcuterie boards as their snacks. And I thought, you know what? I'm doing something right.
I love when little kids say charcuterie because I was like, I don't even think I knew how to say that word until I was like in my 30s. Exactly. I don't even think I knew what it was until my 30s.
I agree.
But you have been able to you probably went to Italy a fair amount as a model, but now you go there as an entrepreneur and you're working with these folks, like you said, in Emilia-Romagna. What has that been like? Have there been a lot of great meals involved?
Lots of great meals. It's interesting how many people don't know that Emilia-Romagna really is a food mecca and how you can just get some of the most decadent, beautiful Italian food ever. Some of the most interesting lasagnas and cheeses and different types of meat, like mouth-watering to think about it. And I'm such a big meat and cheese girl. Oh, so I love going there. And I love just anything that's put in front of me, I inhale it. I mean, slowly. I eat it.
When you go to visit for work, are they cooking at the winery?
I mean, everything's pretty much family style in Italy across the board. It just depends, like where we go in Emilia-Romagna. If we're just at the vineyard, we're eating a lot of Parmigiano and prosciutto. And then they've got this amazing balsamic that is like, I don't know how many years old. And they'll take you through where the barrels are and you can put some taste it out of the barrel, and they're like, we're not going to let you have it for another decade. And, they're giving you these little bottles that they're saying are like called like $800 for these little balsamic vinaigrettes. And it's like, you just want to treasure it because you just use a little drop. Nobody's allowed to have it for the holidays in my house. It's just, that's like special occasion around here.
We didn't even talk about what is Lambrusco. Tell us what it is and what you've learned about the production process.
So Lambrusco is a chilled red sparkling wine. It's beautiful. I like it not so cold, but it has to be chilled for sure, like overnight in the fridge. There's six different types of Lambrusco grapes. Lucci specifically is on the drier side of the grapes. It's all grown in a vineyard. Then it's put into steel barrels, and then the carbonation is added in. It's not aged, which is kind of great for distribution and for getting it from there to here and not having to worry about it. Lucci specifically is got a year shelf life. It's a wonderful drink to have in the winter, to have in the fall, to have in the summer and spring. I have yet to have a meal that it doesn't pair well with. Of course, it goes great with like a pizza and a pasta or a lasagna, but also Thai food, a little spicy food, Mexican, Korean barbecue, sushi. Now, honestly, like anywhere I go, I just bring a bottle of Lucci with me. And if the restaurant doesn't mind me bringing in the alcohol, like it's just what I prefer. And my husband's like, I only really like, he doesn't drink more than one glass of alcohol. He's just that type of person. But Lucci, you can get three glasses in with him.
Do they hit you up with a corkage fee, or does Ashley Graham get to avoid the corkage fee?
Oh no, I have to pay the corkage fee. I think that it's like, oh, you're here, you're paying it. Thanks for being here, by the way.
Are you a big restaurant goer? Do you have many restaurants you love in the city?
Yeah, where we live, it's interesting because it takes about an hour to get into the city. We have made home where we are to a lot of local restaurants and neighboring cities. In a way, we're a creature of habit, but also in a way, like, being in the middle of New Jersey, we're constantly thinking, gosh, we just need to go to New York and just have like date night every night in New York so we can eat really great food. But Jersey really has got some great stuff too. But for probably 2 years, we were stuck on Cote in the city because we love Korean barbecue. It's one of our favorites. We became really good friends with the owner and chef and stuff. And we have a couple more friends in common with the architects and yada, yada. So it was one of our like staples for a long time and still is. It's so decadent and it's so rich, but it's one of those places that you can't stop going to because also the experience.
And they're in Vegas now too.
I know, which is so exciting.
The
And
Venetian, I think. Mm-hmm.
the one in Miami is also really nice, but there's really not, I mean, the one in New York is still my favorite.
I saw you did Chicago last year. You played Roxy Hart in the Broadway musical Chicago. Are you somebody who likes to push themselves and try new things?
I'm only laughing because it was probably, besides giving natural birth, it was the hardest thing I'd ever done in my life. I knew that there's a performer in me, and there always has been. It was something that I had just said to my agents with kind of like, let's see what you got, a little bit of a challenge behind the comment, and asked, well, I've never sang on Broadway before. I want to do that. And next thing you know, Chicago's saying, okay, we'll come in for an audition. And I freaked. I was like, no way. It's here, the call. I said no many times and then decided, okay, I'm just going to go and I'm going to do my own vocal lessons and my own dancing with a dance coach and really figure out how to do this because I don't sing, I don't act, and I don't know how to dance. I figured it out enough to get the first audition. So the second audition then came with the producer of Chicago. I worked my ass off in between those two auditions just to like get it in me. And he offered me the job right on the spot. And I was on for 6 weeks. It was the hardest 6 weeks of my life.
That's a long time.
I did a month of preparation every day except Wednesdays we worked. And then I was on for 6 weeks. Did I say months? I meant 6 weeks. I just remember doing the first show, my opening show. And I remember being so sweaty and so tired. And my mom came in and she said, congratulations, Ashley. It was your opening night. You only have 37 shows left. And I was like, oh, Mom, that sounds like a lot of shows. And
right? You had matinees, all the things.
Yeah, full weekends, only Wednesdays off, like 2 on Saturday, 2 on Sunday. Here I've got 3 little kids at home, a husband, building Lucci. I've got all my contracts. And so my Wednesdays that were off were full of photo shoots and interviews and meetings. I have so much respect for anybody who is on Broadway or who is in theater in general, because it is the hardest working people I have ever met. I've met so many really cool entrepreneurs, but there is nothing like theater work. It's nonstop. I have friendships still that I know that I'll have forever. what it taught me was that my dreams should be bigger because I truly, with the right kind of just tenacity and push that I have in myself, I can do it.
Were you terrified the first
Oh,
night?
terrified. I think majority of the sweat was just pure fear. It even smelled different. I was like, what's that smell? It's weird. It was fear sweat.
Congratulations. Like, that's really super impressive that you did that.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Yeah. What's your big thing going to be for 2026? Is there anything scary you
I
have
feel like
planned?
2026 is over. Like I'm already on 2027 and 28. You know what I mean? Like, no, there's nothing scary this year. I'm just building out more, more media. I've got two more businesses that I'm building out. One that I will launch at the end of this year that has nothing to do with wine and nothing to do with fashion. So that'll be really fun.
Well, we can't wait. I'm sure it'll be as exciting as everything else you have done. Let's do a little speed round. What beverage do you start your day with?
Green tea.
What is always in your fridge? I know one of the answers.
Well, Lucci, duh. And also, randomly, I always have milk, MALK. It's our favorite milk brand.
What is your favorite snack food?
Beef jerky. I just have my little bit over here, and I'm like waiting to eat it once our interview's over.
Okay, so you have to tell me, because it's a good protein source, obviously, and everybody's obsessed with protein now. But when I see them in the stores, the ingredients seem a little random.
Yeah, I have it right here in my drawer. Sorry, viewers, I know you're not in here with this, but mine is from Snake River Farms, and it's the beef
Snake
smoke.
River Farms.
Yeah, it's a Wagyu beef jerky. I know it sounds fancy schmancy, and it is, but you know what? You are what you eat.
Only the best for you, Ashley Graham. Okay. What was your favorite food as a kid?
Mac and cheese, Kraft. If it was homemade, I wouldn't eat it.
I still love Kraft mac and cheese.
Gosh.
Any macaroni and cheese in a box.
So good.
I think it's that childhood thing.
It is
They got us hooked.
nostalgia.
What are you streaming right now? Anything?
Garpetta with Nicole Kidman.
Oh, I don't know about it.
Oh, it's so good. It's a thriller. Got a killer in it. And I love seeing Nicole Kidman just as like a strong leading female.
Anything you're reading right now or listening to? Any books on?
You know what I just started, and I just texted her this morning, is Emma Greed's Start With Yourself book. I just started it on audio. I just think that she's so amazing and she's so inspirational, and call her a friend and a mentor because that's what she is. And then the other book that I'm actually reading right now with my husband is called Give Me 40 Days, where you challenge yourself to pray and meditate for 40 days straight for 40 minutes every day. And it's just like a good spiritual push in the right direction for yourself.
Any cool music you're listening to or any movies, any recos?
Honestly, like I'm just in my house music era right now. It gets me up and dancing. I'm so here for it. I'm going to just be obsessed with Diplo till the day I'm dead. That's my guy.
Any dream travel destinations?
I've been to Morocco twice. I can't wait to go back. It's got my heart forever.
Okay, last question. If you had to be trapped on a desert island with one food celebrity, who would it be and why?
This might sound strange. I don't know if people would consider her a food celebrity, but she is in my book. But do you know who Ballerina Farm is?
Oh, yeah, of course.
I love her because if I'm on a deserted island, I need somebody with skills. I know she's going to be able to make us like a bed. She is going to be able to cook us up some food from like shrubs. She's going to also make some clothes for us. She's that kind of lady that she can do it all with a smile on her face. I love her. I think she's fantastic. So that's who I want to be with on a deserted island.
Okay, Ballerina Farm for the win. You know who I forgot to ask you about? Stanley Tucci. Does everyone say to you, you have to get Tucci a bottle of Lucci?
No, you know what they say? Oh, is it named after Susan Lucci? And I'm like, no, but love her. She's amazing. But I do love Stanley. Actually, I'm in The Devil Wears Prada that's premiering. And so we were in the green room for hours on end. And I was with Mr. Tucci and he was making us vodka drinks in the back with like a splash of orange straight from an orange. And I just thought, this is still iconic. But I did tell him. Of course I told him about Lucci. I was like, I have to get you some, like whatever it takes. You don't have to give me your address, but can I have somebody on your team's number so I can get it to you? Like trying not to look like a freak. I'm like, I promise, like I'm a legit person.
I love when you're like, you don't have to give me your address, Stanley Tucci, as if you're going to like become a stalker of Stanley Tucci. That's pretty funny. Oh, wait, tell us, what do you do in the movie?
I'm on the red carpet. I don't have any lines, but I'm there. I'm on the red carpet with Miss Merrill.
I can't wait to see the movie. I still remember when I saw the first one. You know Laura Brown.
Yeah, of course.
Good friend of mine. Yeah. I saw it with Laura, and she turned to me halfway through and she was like, I didn't know this was a documentary.
It's so good. Isn't the Vogue cover great? I just feel like, you know what? Anna's like, you know what? It is what it is. And I'm leaning in, and it looks fabulous.
Yep. That was a fun moment. I was surprised to see it. I never thought she'd put herself on the cover. I guess she didn't. I guess Chloe put her on the cover. But
yes, which
that
I
was
love.
definitely fun to see. Well, Ashley, you're amazing. It's been so nice getting to know you better. Welcome to the food and beverage world. It's so great to have you in it. Congratulations and good luck with Lucci.
Thank you. Thank you for your support. I really appreciate it.
That's it for today's show. Thank you to Ashley Graham for joining me. Don't forget about the hot dog edit taking place here at Rock Center on Thursday, May 28th. If you're in town, stop by. DM me if you're coming, because the team and I will be there, and we would love to say hi. Our theme song is by the band Tra La La. Joseph Hazen is a studio engineer at Newsstand Studios. Our producers are Catherine Baker and Jenna Sadu. Our executive assistant is Bridget Pittman. And our head of partnerships is Rachel Close. Thanks for listening, everybody. You're the bomb.